Hello everyone, and welcome to the 11:15 session of the ATSC 3 Pavilion Talks. And my name is Jason Patton. I am with Verance. Verance has been around for about 20 years. We're based in San Diego, California. And we have been involved in many different standards over the length of our company. Part of the DVD audio standard, part of the Blu-ray disc standard, and excited that we are a foundational component of the ATSC 3.0 standard. And the Verance Watermark, which is part of the standard, we also call it Verance Aspect, is involved in delivering connected television experiences across all distribution paths. And I will get into that as we walk through the presentation today. And when you think about the ATSC 3 spec, one of the things to keep in mind is that there are different sections and different components to the services and experiences that will be provided by ATSC 3. And what you see on the left is ultra high definition, next generation audio, and mobile viewing. Those are all in black on this slide. And Verance is not heavily involved in delivering those. Those are one-way experiences that are delivered through some of the enhanced capabilities of ATSC 3. Everything you see in orange, these are things that the Verance Aspect Watermark is key in deploying across the nation. This includes census-level viewership data, personalization, interactivity, advanced advertising. Anything that involves two-way connectivity, the Verance Aspect Watermark is key, and I'll get a little bit into what role the watermark plays. So what is the watermark? It's an inaudible digital watermark technology that is part of the video assets and then is detected in the consumer's viewing devices. So it works by taking, let's call it a 60 character, I actually call it something like a tiny URL, but 60 characters of information, a URL pointer that sends data information as part of the audio stream. So you can't hear it, but this watermark repeats every 1.5 seconds within the audio. And then that URL information points to a server where you can obtain two-way connections. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. It was selected to be part of the ATSC standard. You'll see it as part of the A334, A335, and A338 standards. So those are all available, when you look at the standard on atsc.org. And it really empowers broadcasters with two-way connectivity, household level addressability on par with digital platforms. And when you think about this two-way connectivity, what we're trying to do is allow a way for programmer metadata to be delivered to all TVs around the country. It's something that ATSC 3 was designed to do, but we make sure it happens across 100% of televisions, not just over-the-air televisions, but all televisions that are ATSC 3 TV sets. And the watermark and those TV sets allow for return path data. This is the two-way part of this. So you'll see the broadcaster put in information to power different experiences, and then that can be sent to the television and then sent back. And Aspect allows all of this to happen. And sort of the one trick is that we're dealing with an environment in ATSC 3 where a lot of the infrastructure out there today and out there in 1 year and out there in 2 years and even out there in 5 years, it's going to be legacy infrastructure. And because of all of that legacy infrastructure, it is not going to be able to handle all the power of ATSC 3 unless we use the watermark to essentially bootstrap the system and make it work everywhere. So what you see behind me is this sort of brick wall of legacy capability. When broadcasters are putting together metadata, triggers to power interactivity, again, If it's ATSC3 and it's going over the air to an ATSC3 television, all that metadata will survive. But what you see behind me is this brick wall, which is the MVPD experience, the OTT experience, the HDMI port. All of those environments today are not ATSC3 compatible. So what the Watermark does is it sort of hides inside the audio stream. If video and audio is transcoded, if it goes through any MVPD environment, that audio watermark will survive. It will tunnel right through the brick wall. And then once it gets to the end viewership device, let's think of it as like a TV set. That TV set can go back to a server, reestablish anything that was lost going through the brick wall, and allow the true power of ATSC3 to all be established again. One more time on this topic. If you look behind me, right now, as we project out a year into 2020 and 2 years into 2021, the 3.0 over-the-air experience going to a 3.0 television, that's going to work. It's highlighted with a next-gen TV block in the middle of that TV set. However, there are a couple others with X's where we don't expect the experiences to work in ATSC3 unless you do something with the Watermark. That would be something like 1.0 over the air. So you buy a new 3.0 TV set, but your city or the environment you're receiving your signal on is simply a 1.0 environment. Unless you do something special, you're not going to get all of the 3.0 experiences, and you will sort of invest in a 3.0 TV set and not get all the power it's capable of. And then that's similar again with the cable, satellite, OTT, HDMI use case. All of those today, legacy, not designed around 3.0, and so then everything gets lost. But then what you see here is if you include the Watermark, and what we're seeing today, and I'll get into this, is many broadcasters are already trialing the Watermark, putting it out nationally, putting it out in different key cities that are doing 3.0. And in those environments, next-gen TV will work across cable, across satellite, across OTT, even 1.0, as well as the standard sort of 3.0 over-the-air use case. So we're excited about the power that this Watermark provides. Broadcasters are excited, and you'll see that through all of the different broadcasters that have jumped on board to embed the Watermark in their signals. So how does embedding the aspect Watermark work? Essentially, if you're a television station, it's a relatively easy process. Every TV station, they have racks of equipment that work on their television broadcast signal. One of the first partners we teamed up with, a company called Linear Acoustic, and they work in the sort of audio management space. But eventually it won't just be linear acoustic. You'll see other encoders also being able to embed the Watermark, as well as special embedding systems. And essentially you call it a one rack unit, or you might already have linear acoustic equipment in your broadcast chain. You put it in the local broadcast television station. You can also do this at the network level or the cable network level. And essentially you turn on this device once and it starts running. It will embed the Watermark every 1.5 seconds. It will be included on the broadcast signal. And from there, it works its way through the chain, can be detected by the end user device, and you're good to go. And then how everything works. And I've talked a little bit about this, but it's sort of useful to put it up on a slide and showcase to you what happens with the Verance aspect Watermark. Again, section A here, you've got broadcast content. So you've got some sort of video content, and what we're going to do is embed the Watermark on that content. This will be done over OTA, over MVPD. Again, MVPD is cable, it's satellite, it's OTT, it's telco, and then OTT is also mentioned on here. So any distribution path, the Watermark will work its way through all of those. And in section B, essentially, the Watermark is enabling two-way connectivity across this whole path. And then the Watermark will reach an end user viewership device. That could be a television screen, it could be a computer, it could be a phone, it could be a car. And that end device will detect the watermark. If the two-way information has not come, that information will be reestablished through a connection to the internet and the cloud. And then the ability to load applications, do data connectivity, do data collection. All of that is powered by this whole ecosystem, and it continues to happen over and over again throughout the television program or the entire viewership experience. Now, I've talked about two-way, but what are those things that can be enabled by this watermark? What are broadcasters looking to do? What are television manufacturers looking to share with consumers? One thing that draws a lot of interest from a television station is audience measurement. They are competing with all of the digital entities. They're competing with Google, they're competing with Facebook, they're competing with anyone in the digital space. And right now, when you look at audience measurement, it's heavily done in the United States over panel. You look at a particular city, they've got 300, 800 panelists driving ratings, and you're essentially sampling what people are watching. And who knows what biases are there within the sample. The cool thing about what ATSC 3, what the Verance watermark will do, is it will allow census-like data measurement. As different television manufacturers jump on board, as other viewership devices detect the watermark, in each city, you'll see hundreds of thousands, millions of people reporting back what they're viewing, and through that, we'll get a great idea of what programming is performing best. How do you deliver to advertisers the same capabilities, targeting that they're seeing on digital? And so that's one thing that gets the broadcast community excited. Addressable advertising. Also another thing, when you think about the people here at this show, NAB, that they're interested in, the ability to, similar to digital, target, to identify who is the customer and present the best advanced advertising experiences to them as well. Now, in order to do all this, you do have to get the consumer to say they're willing to see all of these two-way experiences. We expect, on the privacy side, there has to be some value for a consumer to opt in and be willing to have these first two services made available to broadcasters. And that's where you're talking about things like personalized audio, personalized video, advanced emergency alerts. You can see a lot of the different cable use cases that are popular today, like start over and things like that, also included. On personalized audio, Verance just announced and successfully tested dialogue enhancement at KPBS in San Diego, where through a partnership between Dolby and KPBS and Verance, we took the enhanced dialogue feature from Dolby, and along with the typical audio that rode over the KPBS signal, we took enhanced dialogue, distributed it over the top, and then remarried that personalized audio with the broadcast at the television set, and we're able to sort of showcase this exciting new feature. One thing that I get excited about is 10 years ago, if you were a broadcaster, you were sharing both English and then Spanish as the secondary audio program. Today, for the most part, given visual descriptive, it's now English and visual descriptive on that broadcast stream. And both of those audio tracks are very valuable, but through personalized audio, we can now add a Spanish track to all of those primetime programs and have 3 different audio tracks available for the end customer to listen to and use. We could also see other things like hometown announcers. You're watching a football game, and instead of just getting the national announcers, if you're from New England, you get some local Boston announcers. If you're from Pittsburgh, you get some local Pittsburgh announcers, and have those as additional capabilities you're able to add on, or fan crowd noise, so many different things. Personalized video. I think in sports soon, you'll be able to choose your camera angle. I want to watch the football game from behind the quarterback. I want to watch my own replay. Press a button and control how you watch the program. We can deliver all those video streams over the top. Advanced emergency alerting. We're in the process of making sure that as AEA, which is part of the ATSC 3 standard, is distributed to different homes in emergency situations, that instead of that alert only going to the over-the-air televisions, those advanced emergency alerts will go to 100% of televisions. So we're excited about embracing that capability as well. So here's a little bit of talk about census-like audience measurement. Again, I talked about it on the last slide. The ability, instead of just a panel, to see 300 to 800 people and how they're viewing in a particular city, you're going to get hundreds of thousands, millions of people with reports back on what they're watching, how quickly they're changing. You know, we talk about on this slide, it's granular. We'll get down to the minute. We'll get down to the second when people are switching channels, what ads they're watching. All these things that you can do on digital, you'll be able to do on a television. It'll be real time. You'll have IP matching. We're excited about all of the capabilities within audience measurement. Here are some of the analytics that we'll bring to the table for broadcasters. You could see station, programming, sales analytics, all available on a dashboard 24/7. One thing we're very excited about is bringing heat map capabilities. If you're looking for a particular audience member who's interested in a particular type of car or a particular type of service, we can show you what parts of the day you should go to share that information. And addressable advertising, it's something that we're able to bring to the television screen across the board, 100% of the universe. So if you have a car ad and you want to show one version of it to target A, another version to target B, and another version to target C, ATSC 3 makes that happen, and the Watermark makes that happen across all television sets. Attribution modeling, all of these things that you're capable of doing. I talked a little bit about what we're doing with personalized audio. This slide gets into the details of it. Dialogue enhancement, tested in San Diego. We expect to roll out more tests of that, as it's one of the first easiest to deploy features. KPBS was able to set it up in their broadcast chain in about an hour and a half. And then we were able to work with Dolby to set up the capability so that it's live and going over the air via broadcast and internet soon thereafter. Audio replacement, I talked about how we can add Spanish or other languages, and then alternative commentary, you know, along with hometown announcers. You could also see with movies adding that director commentary we're so used to in the DVD world to the Monday night primetime movie. So I talked about the Dolby Test. Just please know that one of the top features when they did consumer testing, that was the Pearl Group and the MAGA Group in Phoenix, about what features would audience members be most interested in. One of the top testing features was everything in this personalized audio space: immersive audio, dialogue enhancement, alternative commentary. And so in partnership with Dolby, we want to take all of the new exciting features within ATSC 3 that Dolby's able to deliver and make sure that they go to all homes. And that's something that the Watermark enables. I talked about emergency alerts before. You know, in the traditional emergency alert, you're getting a small amount of data. If you look at the emergency scenario, one of the biggest issues in an emergency is when people are notified, you have sort of a boy who cried wolf scenario where people don't exactly trust that the alert applies to them. And so they're looking for additional information to verify that the alert that they are getting actually applies to their particular home, their particular location. And that's the great thing about AEA. We'll provide video. We'll provide news links showcasing exactly where the emergency is and how it affects those people in the locations that they are. And so we're excited to be one of the key enablers of emergency alerts. Who's embedding the Aspect Watermark today? Broadcasters realize that in order to make this capability stand out, they need to jump on board and show to all of the viewership devices that this is important to them. And so we are already seeing many broadcasters embedding the watermark today. Fox, NBC, Disney ABC, Pearl, all the members of the Pearl Group, PBS, Raleigh, A&E Networks in Latin America. We're excited about all of the support from broadcasters. You'll see all of the key test markets are using the watermark today. We kicked this off in Hartford, Connecticut. Since then, we've embedded the watermark in Raleigh. We're part of the NAB test in Cleveland. We just got up and running in Santa Barbara, and we're a key part of the NAB interop there. We're up in San Diego, the Phoenix model market. Every station in Phoenix has been embedding the watermark for the past couple years, and it's sort of a key part of both their 3.0 and 1.0 chain. Also doing work in Birmingham and Orlando. We also have one test up in Philadelphia. So the other thing to keep in mind is that this watermark is just part of, it's not just part of ATSC 3, but it's also on track to be included as part of the HBB TV standard. So when you think about ATSC 3, you think about the United States, NBC, ABC, Fox, PBS, Pearl, all the big stations are supporting the watermark. In Korea, ATSC 3 is part of the standard, and we expect the watermark to be a key portion of what they're doing in Korea. And then for HBB TV, they ran into the same challenges that you see in the United States. If you go to France, 50% of the viewers in France are using some sort of MVPD to access their TV signal. Norway, Spain, Singapore. There's all sorts of different countries around the world that have similar environments to the United States. And HBB TV realized they needed a watermark to help in those scenarios. And so as of third quarter 2019, we expect that the watermark will be included in the HBB TV standard. And with that, the cool thing is for viewership devices, like a television manufacturer, as they integrate the detection system, it will work for the entire world. A global standard for watermarking sort of makes it a logical decision for those on the television manufacturer and viewership device side. So what are the benefits for broadcasters? Again, it empowers the broadcaster to deliver two-way connectivity and household level addressability on par with digital platforms. That's what we do. Next-gen applications to 100% of households across all distribution paths. We provide broadcasters with first-party, census-like audience measurement data. We power leading next-gen experiences, and by powering those experiences, it has consumers opt in to all of these other exciting things for broadcasters to take advantage of. And the other thing to remember is that this is available now. We are embedding the watermark now. We have already done integrations with different television manufacturers as well as chip vendors, and this is ready to go now. So we are excited about where we are. We're excited about the path forward, and I appreciate you all checking out our presentation, and happy to handle any questions now or later after we break. Any questions? Yeah, I think that the one thing we always get hit up with is, if you were to give us in, 60 seconds, what does the Verance watermark do? The concept is, and this is sort of my cocktail party, spiel about how does Verance help the ecosystem. ATSC 3 is designed to have television be on par with the internet. That's all. If you want to think about what ATSC 3 does on the interactivity side, on par with the internet. Anything you can imagine that the internet can do today, that OTT can do today, we are making sure that can happen for television as these sets launch in 2020, and then beyond 2020 when everyone has these in their homes. And the watermark makes sure that anyone who goes and buys an ATSC 3 television set is able to get all of those internet experiences on their television from day one. So we're excited about what we're doing. I'm certainly available. I have some colleagues here as well. If anyone has questions after, we're happy to take those. But we appreciate the time, everyone. Thank you.